Five, four, three, two, one. Welcome back to the Fear Pitch podcast. I'm your co-host Brian.
Dan, how you doing?
Doing good, doing good. So I did something very rare this weekend. I bet on the Super Bowl. I had $50 of free bets from FanDuel, because one of my friends bet the correct score for the African Cup of Nations.
Hmm.
Funny enough, he was Nigerian. Um, it was his first time using the app, and he meant to bet 2-1 for Nigeria, but it worked out for him because since he accidentally flipped it, he won that bet and then got so much free bet money. And then we cooked up a bet for ourselves for the Super Bowl.
All's well that ends well.
Yeah. Everything hit except Isaiah Pacheco anytime touchdown.
Oof.
And, you know, it was bittersweet. It was bittersweet. But let's talk about the Super Bowl.
It's the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
All right. The COVID Bowl, the Montana Bowl, the that's what we call this thing, etc., etc. We got a rematch between the Chiefs and the Niners, Volume 2, and this one featuring Patrick Mahomes, but not Jimmy G this time. You have Brock Purdy, Mr. Irrelevant, last pick of the draft in the 2022 draft class. He'll be one in the Super Bowl. Never thought we would see something like this. And let me just tell you, he played as good as you can play in a loss. But unfortunately, he did lose. Mahomes now has three three championships, going back to back after winning last year against Philadelphia. He now beats the 49ers again. So, maybe give him some new opponents. He might lose a few times. But anyway, it was a comeback win. They were down by 10, similar. Was it 10? I think they were down by
Yeah.
10, similar to the deficit in the previous matchup when they were down by 10 in 2020. They walked them down and got the W once again.
Yeah, and when you look at the path for the Chiefs, everything seems stacked against them. In the regular season, most drop passes, Kadarius Toney lining up off sides. Everybody was looking at Mahomes like he was some type of diva because he was complaining about the refs and things of that nature.
Right.
But sure enough, they made it to the playoffs, and in each round, they dominated.
Yeah. I would say the only true, the only true fights, because I felt the wild card game that was a layup, and I don't take the Bills serious, so I didn't give the Bills a chance. So the only true fights are the Ravens and the Niners, and I believe it was Chris Jones or one of the Chiefs that said if we got through Baltimore, we weren't worried about anyone else. That was the only team we were worried about, and they ended up being Baltimore and Baltimore, and then they cashed in the check and the biggest game of the year.
All that tells me is that the Chiefs know that the Ravens beat themselves. You know, but let me stop being a bitter Ravens fan real quick. Um, all in all, it was truly amazing, and the defense that Spags put together, uh,
Again,
yeah, surgical. Everybody knows that you put pressure on Purdy, you see that he's a game manager again. Everybody knows. You saw when the Ravens played the 49ers in week
on
uh
Christmas. On
on
Christmas.
Christmas, and you've seen flashes of it here or there. When you put pressure on Purdy, he can't really get the ball out of his hand. This
Indeed.
was a revenge game also for a few players. What were the players?
So yeah, Jared McKinnon, He was a Viking for a little bit, but he also played in San Fran, suffered an injury, bounced around, but he found a home in Kansas City. And I believe he was on the 2020 Super Bowl team as well.
Mm.
So he gets a second ring over his former team. Chris Conley was a former Chief. He was playing special teams for the 49ers. He also had a few catches on the throughout the playoffs as well. Travis Ward is also a former Chief. He's a cornerback for the 49ers now. And unfortunately he's on the losing side of things in this matchup.
Mhm.
And you got Richie James. He was a former 49er. He was on the 49ers team that lost to Kansas City, and now he gets it back in blood in the best way possible. He's a chief, and he's on the winning side, beating his former team. So those are a few, homecomings, I guess, and some redemption stories for a few players there.
Yeah. And like I said, it's definitely bittersweet. I know for the 40, it's bitter for the 49ers, sweet for the Chiefs, but I think things played out the way they were supposed to play out. This is also the first back-to-back Super Bowl champions since it's been 19 years, the
Yeah,
longest drought since back-to-back championships
yeah. I
for the
believe
Super
it
Bowl.
was. I believe it was the Patriots in oath.
Three, yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
three
you're
or
right.
four. Yeah, so the Mahomes Brady comparisons are nearing, and I feel like the gap is getting smaller by the year.
Oh, I actually found an interesting stat for um Mahomes versus Brady before they were 30.
Mm-hmm.
Um Patrick Mahomes, 18 games, Tom Brady, 14 games. Passing yards, Mahomes, 5,135, Tom Brady, 3,217.
Mm.
Mahomes, 41 passing TDs, Tom Brady, 20 passing TDs. Interceptions, 8 for Mahomes, 9 for Tom Brady. Super Bowl championships, 3 each. Super Bowl MVPs, 3 for Mahomes, 2 for Tom Brady before turning 30. What do you
Yeah,
think about that?
I mean, hey, I feel like the key thing about Brady is I think he was picked 199, six rounder. So it's like to accomplish half of this would have already been a W for him. And this isn't even half of what he's accomplished in his entire career. So at this point, um, he was already being put out there with one of the greats. And I feel like the mystique and the we're not gonna see another seventh round a six rounder, sorry. We're not gonna see another six rounder like Brady ever. I don't think so. So it's like that alone is probably gonna be the true anchor in the argument. But that man 15, he's right there.
You don't think Brock Purdy will be back?
No,
Mm.
no. But I think Mahomes is right there. It's very, very close. Very, 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 very close. He did beat Mahomes twice, so that's also another. Those are the two anchors right there. So it's like I was a six rounder and I beat you twice. So
Yeah, that is true. Despite whatever accolades he'll get, Tom Brady at what 40 or 41 can always say that um, despite everything that you accomplished, I still won my last Super Bowl on you.
that
Yeah.
part.
Um, when we were looking at this game, I think that the most interesting thing that happened was things that were occurring on special teams. Um, there was a specific pivotal play. It was when the ball was punted by the Chiefs and one of the 49ers return men,
Yep.
it hit off the back of his heel, forcing the actual returner to have to lunge for the ball.
Right.
And I think this is a classic case of trying to run before you pick up the ball, which led to
Right,
ultimately the Chiefs getting the ball back on like the 20-yard line, I believe.
right.
And I think that was the most pivotal play in the game to me. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, it's like special teams. Here's the one thing about special teams players. It's like most people don't know you.
Hmm.
And when they know you, you either did something really, really good or really, really bad.
Hmm.
And sometimes it's not even your fault. I had to look up this guy's name. Um, Daryl Luder Jr. Um, the the punt ball ricocheted off the back of his foot, and Jalen Watson allowed the Chiefs was able to recover it, and that opened up the door. As soon as the ball was ricocheted, I think the return man was Ray McLeod. He got clobbered, so he didn't even get a chance to try and recover it.
Hmm.
He was pointing, I think it was pointing to Daryl, just saying, "Hey man, get out the way." And he did try and recover the muff, but he wasn't able to. And then off that alone, the Chiefs picked it up and that opened up the door, like I said. They set him up in the red zone and they ended up taking the lead. That definitely set the tone. I was like, you can't predict that, but it's definitely looking like it's probably not gonna go your way if things like this are happening.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. It seemed like things were going the 49ers way until after the first quarter.
Yeah.
They were great in the first quarter. They had that 10-0 lead on the Chiefs. But then after that, things slowly started chipping away.
Yeah,
If I
I
were,
feel my fault.
oh,
I
no,
feel
no.
like teams just don't know how to play with the lead.
Yeah. And I think because it turns into, all right, we got the lead. What can we do to protect it? Keep digging the dagger into the wound.
Effort.
Get to 21-0. Get to 28-0. Run up that lead as big as you can.
Yeah.
I think there's always a mentality of, all right, we have this lead, let's maintain it. But if you're going to maintain it, too, the best strategy is to not let Mahomes have the ball in his hand.
Yeah.
Take the time, run the ball. You have CMC, and if a CMC gets tired, rotate Elijah Mitchell in there, run those jet sweeps, run it down the middle, short passes, chunk yard plays, and churn the clock. That's what the Chiefs did against the Ravens. If you look at that game, the time of possession for the Chiefs was more than double what the Ravens had. They were churning the clock. That's how you do it. Quick 10-yard passes go down. Quick 10-yard passes go down. Take your time, churn the clock, do what you have to do. Not every play needs to be a big play going for like 60 yards, especially when you have the lead like that. Um,
Especially when you have a sub Brock Purdy is 6'1". He can barely see above his lineman. And obviously a seasoned DC like Steve Spagnuolo is gonna say, yeah, keep the ball out of CMC's hands and make Brock air it out. And you're gonna play into that. And the
yep.
Chiefs have one of the Chiefs have an all-pro corner in Trent McDuffie. And that pass defense is their run defense is okay, but their pass defense is phenomenal. So you're
Yeah.
playing to their hand. You deserve to lose that game.
Yeah. The secondary for the Chiefs is absolutely phenomenal. I saw it was like a play where it was a slant from Debo Samuels, and I think it was Legarius Sneed was on him. He straight up came out of nowhere, and right as he was about to catch it, he just punched the ball
Yeah,
and
real
he just
physical.
punched it down to the ground. I was like, okay.
Yeah,
So definitely shout out to the Chiefs secondary there.
yeah.
But you mentioned something that now we're in dynasty talk era for the Chiefs. And the question I pose to you is Patrick Mahomes inevitable?
It seems that way. I think is almost like it's like state tax. It's like you're gonna get paid he's gonna get a cut out of whatever you got going on. So as good as you are, you gotta go see. You gotta see Uncle. You got Uncle Pat. You got Uncle Sam. This is Uncle Pat. You're going
Mhm.
to see him. He's gonna take something with him. I don't know how much, but he's gonna take something. They said that the AFC was hobbled. Josh Allen had it down here. Burrow was hurt. Blah blah. Blah. No, 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 no. They won it last year, and they won it again because you had to go see Uncle Pat. He had to go collect. It is what it is. So they won 2 rings without Tyreek Hill. So
Mhm.
now what's the narrative? I feel like the regular season, I hope that we just stop caring about the regular season. Because if they get a foot into that January football season, then we can have all the conversations we want. But weeks 1 through 18 don't matter anymore. They don't.
Yeah, and especially when you look at it, you mentioned to touch on that Tyreek Hill contract. The Chiefs offered him only $5 million less.
Hmm.
So he took $5 million over two Super Bowl two Super Bowl championships. And that
Hey,
begs the question again, and I feel like we talked about it last time. Is it about the money or is it about the rings?
give me my jewelry, yo. I need it.
Because
I'm a champion. That
for
you not everyone can say that.
for a $5 million pay cut, he'd be a three-time Super Bowl champion, and he probably would have had another crazy historic year.
And probably even another extension if you really, because you are Tyreek Hill at the end of the day.
Yeah,
So yeah, just re-up. So if you really want the bread, optimize your contract by signing shorter deals and then pay me as we go along.
yeah.
It's a little different because running backs want long-term deals because they take a lot of physical punishment. If you're a
Hmm.
skill position player, it's like, yeah, I'll take a 2, 3 year deal 45 $25 million average. And then once that deal is up, I'm gonna re-up. And I'm gonna have 2 rings. So someone else is gonna you got this chess and you gotta know how to play. But
Hmm.
he got his jewelry, he got one, and he got paid. So he had his cake and he ate it too. But hey
Hmm.
man, 3-time Super Bowl champion, that not many people can say that. And he could have said that if he just did it in KC.
Absolutely, absolutely. So when we look at this game, let's talk about overtime.
Mm-hmm.
Apparently, the 49ers had not talked about the playoff overtime rules at all. The players admitted that they did not know the rules, while on the Chiefs side, they said we've been talking about the playoff overtime rules since training camp.
Mm-hmm. Um I have so many thoughts. I'm praying this is just cap and they're just trying to get away from accountability. I would be more okay if you told me you were lying than to tell me you just didn't know. First of all, do you play Madden? Like, like these rules are in Madden. I play a lot of Madden. I've known about these rules since they came out. Second of all, you are coaching a football team. So you should know everything you think you don't have to know. You should know what type of turf is in Vegas.
Literally.
So you not knowing about overtime rules, you should know the distance between the pylon and like the things you just should know. So you said, "Oh, I had no idea." You just told me you're incompetent. That's
And
all
you're
you told me.
and you're the head coach for the number one seed in the NFC. Um Shanahan, I think you should be on job watch. I think you're gonna keep your job now, but give it a few years. Saying stuff to the press like I didn't know the overtime rules. It just sounds like you negligently handled this team. Shout out your GM for getting you every single possible piece that you
Yeah.
needed, but it's
John
truly on
Lynch.
you for not preparing this team.
Yeah. John Lynch did everything necessary. You, on the other hand, you being Kyle Shanahan, I just don't understand why you just fail to realize that you just need more help, or you just need to relinquish some of your power. Be an OC. There's nothing wrong with being the I mean, when you go 28
Not
to 3
coordinator
lead,
position. Coordinator positions are great. There's a lot of people who are better at being coordinators than being head coach, such
I
as
would,
Spagnuolo.
yeah,
Spagnuolo has won 4 championships as a defensive coordinator.
yeah,
The head coach, his career is nowhere near as lustrous. You know,
yes. I would agree with you. The only caveat is he blew a 28 to 3 lead in the Super Bowl, and he was calling plays there, and that staff was loaded. So I don't know what the excuse is for that. But outside of that, I mean, yeah, maybe you should just be an OC. I feel like a lot of, hey man, the Chargers might need an OC. Jim
that's not a bad
Harbaugh,
staff to be on. Honestly, that's not
yeah,
a bad staff to be on.
Jim Harbaugh, Kyle Shanahan. Look at Matt Nagy. Matt Nagy was a decent coach. He was decent,
Mhm.
and then he left Kansas City. I mean, he left Kansas City for Chicago. Came back. He was quarterback coach while EB was the offensive coordinator.
Mhm.
When EB took the job in Washington, he now became the OC. Now we know Matt Nagy ain't that good, but if my head coach is Andy Reid, I'm gonna just be yo Andy, what do we do here? Hey Andy, what do we do here? I'm not doing nothing. It's Andy. I'm just a messenger. Y'all go listen to Andy. So you can go do that in LA. Just go listen to Jim, or just find somewhere where you don't even make all the decisions. Be a figurehead. That's all you gotta do.
Absolutely, but I find it hard to believe Kyle Shanahan will willingly leave a head coaching post. Especially because for him it's definitely about legacy. Your father was uh, a coach and he won a Super Bowl championship. I think what the closest comparison, like the parallels between this team and the I forgot what Super Bowl the Broncos won, but it was like Super Bowl 30 something, I think.
It was in 30s.
Yeah,
32 and 33.
right. Your father and CMC's father won a Super Bowl together on the
Yep.
Broncos.
Yep.
Um, so
Ed McCaffrey was a wide receiver for that Denver team. Yeah. I think Ed McCaffrey was also a 49er for a little bit as well.
mhm. So especially given that for him it's definitely about legacy. It's will it's kind of like the same thing that I was talking about with like the Harbaughs. You need a
Mm.
chip to sit at the table, and for him, he needs a chip to sit at the table with his father. It's more than just winning a Super Bowl. It's about family legacy, right? Um, but Andy Reid's play calling in overtime was absolutely phenomenal. It was clear that the Chiefs were prepared for this moment, and when overtime came, they were ready.
Yeah.
And shout out to Miko Hardman for getting that touchdown and not even knowing that he won the game for the Chiefs.
Right. Right. The adrenaline. You know what's crazy? So I was watching Hard Knocks because Miko was a Jet at
Mm-hmm.
the start of the season, and what is it called? Not psyche, the fortune teller, some guy, some specialist, doing his thing, and Miko was the subject. He's like, all right, so what do you see? I was like, all right, I see my team beating the 49ers in the Super Bowl. He was a Jet when he said that. Now,
Nice.
things happened. He didn't really work out in New York. Ended up back home. He went to Georgia, but, back to his original team, the Chiefs, and he caught the game-winning touchdown against the San Francisco 49ers. I'm just saying, man, it's pretty crazy.
The tongue is very powerful. Um, you speak a lot of things into existence more than people think, and it looks like he spoke his fate into existence. So, would you consider the 49ers to be a glass house? I know they had the output, but it seems like in key moments, and we saw it throughout the playoffs, but it seemed like during the playoffs versus the Lions, they were able to slightly pull it out. Versus the Packers, they were able to slightly pull it out. Those victories. But when you were looking at this team overall, it seemed like they had all the pieces, but they were being held together by a thread.
I'm gonna give a personal example, right?
Mm-hmm.
My dining room chair is broken. It has three legs.
Mm-hmm.
You can still sit on it. I sit on this chair sometimes
Mm-hmm.
because you know, a leg is missing. I could sit in the chair, but sure enough, one day I'm gonna lean back and end up on the ground because it only got three legs. That's the 49ers. They
Mm-hmm.
kept rocking back and forth in the three-legged chair, and then the biggest moment, face plant.
Mm-hmm.
Because all this time, y'all kept pulling, skin of your teeth victories. Your defense bailed you out against Green Bay, and the Lions beat themselves. Matt LaFleur and Dan Campbell don't have the coaching acumen of Andy Reid and Steve Spagnuolo. We don't care about Matt Nagy, respectfully. So, obviously, you were going to lose this game, just knowing that the competition we played to get here didn't sharpen us at all. At all. It was iron and wood, not iron and iron.
Mm-hmm.
You were supposed to beat Green Bay, you almost didn't. You were supposed to beat Detroit, you almost didn't. You weren't supposed to beat Kansas City, and you didn't. So you made it look good though. In the overtime, it was a very, very good game, but we knew you were going to lose, and you did.
Absolutely. I couldn't have said it better. A glass house. And sitting atop the glass house was Brock Purdy. Cam Newton had a hot take that aged well. He said Tua, Dak, and Purdy are all just game managers, and you're about to see it in the playoffs.
Sure enough.
When Cam Newton said this, he received so much hate and was like, "You don't know what you're talking about," blah blah blah. But as we can see, Cam Newton knows ball.
Here's the reality of the situation, right? So you got people who know ball. You got eye test people, the us, and then you got the box score Avengers. They just look at the box score. They're like, oh, he threw for 250. Oh, he had four. You're a box score Avenger and you're not watching the game. If you watch the game, obviously you will understand what Cam Newton was saying. Dak Prescott in week one against the Giants threw like 13 passes. I'm not being exaggerating, but he didn't have a good game. The defense bailed him out and he played amazing. When Dak had to put the ball in the air, he looked not that great. There's even a stat. It's like the win percentage when the Cowboys run more than they pass. It's like in the high 80s, low 90s. I don't know the exact number right now, but when they run more than they pass, they win a lot of games. And you can say, wouldn't that work for everybody? Maybe, but as you can see with Dak Prescott, when he has to put the ball in the air again and again and again and again, out of the Packers wild card game, L.
Yeah,
Saying the 49ers have been doing this for ages. That Super Bowl run they had in 2020 when Jimmy G won the playoff game throwing eight passes. And then it was like, Brock Purdy's the guy. He won the last pick in the draft. He's 6'1". There's no physical, what's the word? Well, there's no metric of like profile where it's like, yeah, this guy is gonna be it's not that fast, doesn't have the best arm. He can play quarterback very well, but there's no there's no big joker there. So it's like, yeah, you are going to manage the game and work with the pieces around you. One of the best defenses in the world. Trevor Williams, Hall of Fame left tackle. Christian McCaffrey, best running back in football. Brandon Ayuk, pay that man. Top 10 wide receiver in the league. Deebo Samuel, decent wide receiver too. George Kittle, all pro tight end. There's a lot of pieces around you. You don't have to do too much. All you gotta do is put a plate on the table and the food will fall from the sky. Just bring a plate. And
You
the
with a
food,
chance of meatballs.
I'm telling you, Purdy with a chance of touchdowns. That's all it really is. Put your plate on the table and the food will fall from the sky. But if you had to go in the kitchen and cook by yourself, you are capable. But how many times have I eaten chicken Alfredo, Brian?
Only a few too many times. It's like,
Until I get sick.
yeah,
Okay. And
it's
sure
like
enough,
it's like growing up when everybody's mom will make that big pot of spaghetti, and that's what
oh,
you
that
eat
part,
every day for the week. You know,
that
it's
part.
like, hey, this your food for the week. You know,
It'll get me through. But
yeah,
if I want to actually sit down and have a gourmet feast, I'm gonna get that every now and then.
yeah. Very well said. Very well said. So, what do you think about Shannon Sharpe saying that he would take Jordan Love right now over Brock Purdy?
Yeah. I was listening. I missed first take on Monday, so I was watching it back today, and I couldn't agree more. I think Jordan Love is a physically more gifted quarterback, and we saw what he can do with not the best offensive core. I mean, Romeo Dobbs is capable, but sometimes he forgets how to play football.
Mm-hmm.
Christian Watson can't stay on the field. Jaden Reed is a rookie. Aaron Jones is old. AJ Dillon kind of regressed a little bit. So the pieces around him ain't the best, and he's still cooking.
We very easily could have had an NFC championship game of Packers versus Lions. Very
Yes,
easily.
yes,
It was right there.
yes.
And more it's looking like the Packers, they made the right decision to move forward with Jordan Love. At first, at the beginning of the season, I wasn't seeing it. I was
Me
like,
neither.
who's this Jordan Love guy? Right. But hey, he put the pieces together and he's definitely gonna be steamrolling next season.
Yeah, I think if they keep on adding assets, which they look like they're going to be doing, they're going to be right back where they were this year.
Mm-hmm.
Be one or two playoff wins. And if you get two playoff wins, you're in the NFC Championship.
That's
And when
true.
you're in the NFC Championship, you're one win away from the Super Bowl. So
That's true. So, what do you think about Stephen A. Smith and Shannon Sharpe saying that they're picking Brock Purdy over Dak Prescott?
you beat them twice. You beat them in the playoffs. I would hope you do that. He's played in the Super Bowl his second year. His first year as a full-time starter, he led the league in passer rating, and he was a few points away from being called a champion. And last year, he was in the NFC Championship. So he's gotten farther than Dak in 18 months.
That's actually a very good point. I didn't think about it like that. You're very correct. He's gotten farther than a lot of QBs in the league, honestly, in 18 months, too.
Yeah,
And when you look at Brock Purdy in totality, I know it seems like we're throwing a lot of scrutiny on him, but when you're being placed in positions of greatness and you're being elevated to that level and you play to a certain standard, scrutiny is the cost of greatness,
that part.
you know. So I think Brock Purdy will be successful in the long term. I think he'll have a very successful career. And it was even a stat that I had read online about Brock Purdy. Let me see where it was. It said Brock Purdy proved why he belongs in the league. He came back from an elbow surgery, finished top 5 in passing yards, touchdowns, and passer rating, led Niners to number 1 seed in Super Bowl appearance, named to his first Pro Bowl, and was an MVP finalist.
Yeah,
Mr. Irrelevant is now Mr. Relevant. The
yeah,
future is bright for the QB1 in the Bay,
yeah.
you know? And I hope he
If
takes
they,
this feeling, right? And it's that
Mhm.
same feeling that Jalen Hurts had of walking off the field last year when he lost to Patrick Mahomes. I hope he internalizes this feeling and uses it as his fuel, because those who are truly great, they use their positive and negative emotions to fuel them.
Okay.
Right? How many times do we hear that MJ would build a narrative in his head? Even Tom Brady. Oh, you don't think I can win at 40 years old? I'm gonna go to Tampa Bay and show you. Right.
That part.
So Brock Purdy's young, and he definitely has that chip on his shoulder, being drafted almost last in the draft.
No, he was last. Last.
Oh, he was absolute last. Oh, I thought he was
Last pick.
199. Oh, okay.
Brady was 199. Purdy was
Oh,
262.
oh,
Last pick.
you were drafted last in the league. Nobody believed in you but yourself. They picked you up as a backup to the backup, and you've shown that you're here to stay.
Let
So I
me
think the future is bright for Purdy, and I'm interested to see what he does next season.
let me just read to you the 2022 QB class in order that they were drafted.
Mm-hmm.
20th overall, Kenny Pickett. Third rounder, Desmond Ridder, Malik Willis, Matt Corral, in that order.
Malik Willis hasn't touched the field in a long time.
Fourth round, Bailey Zappi.
Uh, Pats.
First pick of the fifth round, Samuel Howell.
Oh, he was in the same draft as Sam Howell. Hmm.
Yep. Makes you think. Anyway, seventh round, the three quarterbacks were taken. The first being Chris Oladoku out of South Dakota State by the Steelers. And then you have Skylar Thompson taken by the Dolphins at 247. He did start a playoff game. He lost, though. And then 15 picks later, last pick of the draft from Iowa State, teammates to Brees Hall, Brock Purdy, 262.
Hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think being picked 262 and this loss, I think Purdy has shown that he is able to take a situation and spin it around. So I don't know what the 49ers will do next season. I know they have a lot of players going into free agency, like a boatload. What's the list? I think you already mentioned Debo. No, it's not Debo. Brandon Ayuk.
Brandon Ayuk, Chase Young, Javon Kinlaw, those are two edge rushers, and amongst others.
Hmm.
So I'm just making sure that whatever they plan on, because they gave Nick Bosa a lot of money. Trent
Hmm.
Williams is already paid. CMC is a running back, so we'll see how that goes.
Hmm.
A lot of money needs to be put in the places of your stars. I love Brandon Ayuk, who posted on IG. Don't forget what got you there. Eyeball emoji.
That's true. He is right. Don't forget.
Um, there have been suggestions saying that he may be a Raider. Um, his usage in the Super Bowl was not received well amongst his camp, and his camp is, quietly saying without saying it, I want to play for the Raiders. He went to high school in Nevada, so he has ties there. And hey, Brandon, you can Nevada, yeah.
That's not fair. I'm not gonna lie to you.
Aiden,
That's
Aiden, they're giving you everything you need, my boy.
everybody.
But
I think a lot of players like the sound of Vegas, but Vegas is also a tough town to play in because city,
yeah,
because of the nature of it, what Vegas is for.
yeah,
Uh, the ins and outs requires a different level of discipline. It's like playing in New York or
LA, yeah, New York,
LA, Atlanta.
even Dallas, yeah, amongst others.
Yeah, Dallas too.
Oh, I said, don't hate. Come on, man. um, yeah. So yeah, I'm not sure what's up with Kyle Shanahan. He's blown three double-digit leads in Super Bowls. Falcons won, and the two Chiefs ones.
Yeah. Mhm.
Uh, that brother needs help. I was talking to the homies when I was watching the game. He's like, they need to invent a common sense coordinator.
Yeah.
Yeah, like don't even think about like somebody independent of football. You are literally here just to assess. Okay, we're up by 10. It's 2nd and 4. Do we give it to the best running back in football or throw it to one of the best pass defenses? Coach, I think you give it to the best running back in football. Sometimes you just gotta hear it. You just gotta hear it.
And I think what's it called? The Ravens hired somebody for that position. They called it the offensive flow coordinator,
Yeah, yeah,
but it's really lock in and make good decisions.
yeah. Nathaniel Hackett was perfect. Nathaniel Hackett, yeah. That was a terrible season. Was that last season with the Broncos? So yeah, that's the guy they hired to help Nathaniel Hackett. Like, remember that you're coaching a football team, so
Mhm.
you want to win games. So he was like that person telling you this is how you win games. And yeah, the Ravens were running that guy as well.
Yeah.
Honestly, just get a 22-year-old that plays man, and he can do that job. I can do that job. I play a lot of Madden. I know what works and what doesn't work.
Yeah. So speaking of coaches, what do you think about Travis Kelsey yelling at Coach Reid and then him saying, "Oh, I was just telling him how much I love him."
Obviously that's cap. Yeah. TK, you was bugging out. You can't do that to Big Ray. Yeah,
Yeah.
like
Like, do you know who that is?
yeah, say that for your podcast or and all your other endeavors.
On the
Obviously,
the
you said
big
what?
stage.
Yeah. Like obviously, in the heat of the moment, you lost your cool. Nah, gang, lock in. Yeah, like I'm gonna need you to remember what got you there. Remember who took you. I know he was like, oh, maybe we were trying to get the. Hey, man, don't. I'm not even gonna speak on your lady, but don't let her get you confused. Lock in and do what you gotta do. Thankfully, he did because in the fourth quarter, he got the ball a good amount and good things happened.
Mhm.
So I'm sure they patched it out. I saw they were hugging and all that good stuff when all the the use. But yeah, bro, like lock in. That's all.
You could definitely say for a second there looked to be some bad blood.
Yeah, because I think AJ Brown tweeted, yeah, that was me. Obviously, I'm not gonna put the cap on, but yes, for individuals that look a certain way, certain behavior is deemed erratic and inappropriate. But for individuals that look like bottle caps, um, it's just passionate behavior.
I mean,
So
you're not wrong. I mean, let's I remember even like a few years ago, um, I think it was like Serena Williams. She got upset and broke her racket. But when
yep.
Tom Brady throws his helmet, it's called he's just having
Folks are
a bad
throwing,
day, you
yeah,
know.
folks are throwing helmets, tablets. A tablet costs, well, I mean, I think a tablet costs more than a racket. I could be wrong.
I don't know. I don't know because tennis. I don't know. Sometimes
Yeah,
in tennis rackets, especially for those pros, they be having them
yeah. I
carbon
could be wrong.
fiber. You know.
Yeah, I could be wrong. And if I'm wrong, I want to have the conversation. So tell me if I'm wrong. Put this up. I don't
Yeah.
mind being wrong. But yeah, bro, like obviously complexion, gender, sex, all kind of slide the scale on what's passion and what's being angry. Anyway, but yeah, TK, lock in, yo. You can't do it to Big Ray, yo. I just need you to know that. Say all that while for your podcast.
Absolutely, absolutely. And then let's talk about some player performances. So
Sure.
MVS had he had a great game, right? Am I tripping? No, he
He
did. He had a
did
touchdown, right?
he did enough to all his wrongs were excused because he had that one serious right.
Okay. And
And it's kind of been like that the entire season. He dropped the gimme against Philly. Well, it wasn't a gimme, but he dropped it against Philly. And before that touchdown he had in this game, he was looking on, you know what I'm saying? I don't know.
yeah, the pick that occurred, it was a pass to him, I
Yep.
believe.
Yep.
And then he had that 4 yard reception, and then he ran 7 yards into the
Back.
backfield.
Yes. He caught the pass. So when he caught it, it was a gain of 4. He then reversed field, lost forward progress, and essentially turned a 4 yard gain to a 3 yard loss. When all you had to do was just fall down.
Yeah.
So, things happen, try to make a play, but not dog. Just get catch and hit the forward.
I want to talk about Isaiah Pacheco because he lost me my parlay. Um, he had an okay performance, but it wasn't the same Isaiah Pacheco that we were used to.
Yeah.
I think he
Um,
had 19 carries for like 60 yards, which isn't bad on
yeah,
paper. It's not
yeah.
bad.
3 yards a carry. Yeah,
But
average.
what was also in there was a fumble uh
Yeah,
in the red zone.
yeah. Very bad one. Very, very bad one.
Um what's also not accounted for there was he was getting stopped a lot at the goal line. And I think Isaiah Pacheco is very capable. That's why, you know, I put the money on him. But this is probably just me being bittersweet because he did have a okay performance. Or you let me know. Am I being bitter?
Yes and no. Um, because when I was at my watch party, when he had the first fumble, every time he touched the ball after that, the entire field was out. Don't fumble, don't fumble, don't fumble. So, I mean, you gotta have a goldfish memory and just keep working at it. He averaged about 3 yards a carry with 18 totes. So he was, I mean, Clyde touched the ball one time, but yeah, outside of him and Mahomes, that's where the heart of the run game came from. So you kind of had to work with what got you there. And remember, he played pretty well in the Philly Super Bowl last year, so he did what he had to do this year. Niners defense is very tough, so he made the best with what he could do.
Speaking of
Um,
Mahomes is so good at timing his runs.
oh yeah, he might be the best, not in speed, but in need to scramble. Like if it's third and 18, he'll get you 18 yards. If it's third and 6, he's gonna get you 6 yards. If it's fourth and 2, he's getting 2 yards. Like he's a very calculated scrambler. So when he chooses to take off, most times he's getting to that first down marker or damn near. He'll turn a third and 15 to a fourth and 1 at least.
Very
Um,
well
yeah. And I want to highlight Jawan Jennings because I feel like if the Niners had won this game, he was getting Super Bowl MVP.
absolutely. Ah,
He,
actually, I disagree. CMC was the first player in Super Bowl history to have 80 rushing yards and 80 receiving yards and a touchdown.
yes.
I think CMC was was the most dominant player. But I think Jawan Jennings is a close second because I think he threw the ball and he caught a touchdown.
He threw and caught a touchdown pass in the same game. How about Nick Foles, who was Super Bowl MVP that year? So
Hmm. I see where you're coming from with that precedent. You know, I think it's close. I think it's
yeah,
close.
yeah. I think narrative wise, they probably giving it to C-Mac. But the Super Bowl MVP be kind of odd because what Malcolm Smith won it for the Seahawks, Deion Branch won it for the Patriots. It's like it's not. I feel like they are actually kind of Nah, I don't know, because I feel like nowadays it's like, yeah, give it to the QB no matter what. But every now and then you'll get who's that guy? Oh, he actually put work in. Let's give it to him. Malcolm Finn, Deion Branch, etc. Yeah,
It's the same as like the Andre Iguodala MVP. It's like
that part.
when your star player doesn't show up and show out the way they're supposed to, but you have a dark horse who's there keeping them in the game. That's the
Right.
guy you give it to.
Like Kawhi Leonard a few years before that. Yeah, very
Mhm.
good take.
Yeah. Um. So now, did Kadarius Tony touch the field?
He did what he had to do, which was not play.
Huh. So they didn't put him on special teams or anything at all.
No,
So could you say that one of the greatest moves in the current modern era was bringing Kadarius Tony to your team as a good luck charm rather than a player?
potentially. I mean, he did have that punt return in the previous Super Bowl, and given the fact that Rasheed Rice took that step and Kadarius stepped forward, and Kadarius Tony took that step back, um, it's a good problem to have. When you can not play somebody and get better,
Yeah.
he has more rings than Aaron Rodgers and Drew Brees.
What is Kadarius Tony's current contract?
I think he has like a few million. I think he signed for a few million. He knows a first round pick, so I think he's still on his under the rookie deal. And he was drafted in 2020. So if they don't pick up his fifth year option, which they probably won't, he'll be a free agent after next year.
Hmm. Okay. Well, Kadarius, I hope next season is better for you. I think you truly just had a bad beat. I don't think you're a bad receiver, but I think this was just a bad year for you. I
Yeah,
know you just brought a child into the world, and a lot of things are different for you. So I
yeah.
hope during this offseason things turn around because I don't think Kadarius Tony's a bad player.
Negativity sells, but this man was. If you saw him in Florida, he, honestly, they just made. They have a new OC, so they give it to Eric Bieniemy. Matt Nagy's Matt Nagy.
Mhm,
He was hurt coming into the year.
mhm,
So it could be an ill-fitting scheme because in college, this man was very electric in the open field.
mhm,
And you have Patrick Mahomes. So when the play breaks down, he'll probably be looking for somebody to, get your hands right. Because obviously, with it's precedent. If you're dropping passes, if you're running the ball sides, yeah, you're probably not gonna be in the most favorable light. But yeah, in the OTAs and the off season, lock in. Because I
mhm.
feel like you have definitely, like you said, when you get the ball, you're a number one wide receiver. I don't think that's a bad take. I feel like you can show that. I think next season you're gonna bounce back and do just that. Unsung hero.
Absolutely, absolutely. But tell me your thoughts on the halftime show and Usher, and I'll be right back.
Sure. Shout out to Usher, man. I'm a 2000s baby, so I was definitely very, very, very engaged. He did the song with Alicia Keys, My Boo. Great song. I love that song. I love Alicia Keys, very great artist. Shout out to her as well. She did her thing, very talented musician and instrumentalist. She was killing that guitar, for real, for real. You know what's dope? Her also sang, I think, at a 40, I don't know if it was a Super Bowl, but she sang at a 49ers game some years ago when she was younger, and now she's performing at the halftime show. Very, very great. And on top of that, I know folks were talking about, oh, Taylor Swift might hijack it and Usher might give some shine to Taylor Swift. That was never happening. Not in Jay-Z's NFL. I'm sorry. We're not doing that here. But yeah, we saw Luda, we saw Lil Jon. I was almost certain both of them would have a segment there, and that they did. Um, yeah, it was great. It was very, very great. I was very, very, very much entertained. Usually, I like to take my bathroom break during the halftime show, but every Super Bowl I get up and I just don't watch the halftime show because I typically don't care. But this year I watched every second through and through, and it was great. He did his thing. Um, some folks were talking about the voice crack Alicia Keys had on the first note,
Mhm.
and the powers that be made that non-existent. But if you're on Twitter, you'll see it. But if you're on YouTube, you probably won't. But I think Alicia Keys killed it. She did very, 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 very well. So yeah,
Yeah, and shout out to Usher. He also got married in Vegas that day too, so it was a very
that
big day
he
for him.
did. That he did. Congratulations to Usher.
Yeah.
More about love wins.
So speaking of Alicia Keys,
Shoot.
I think you know where I'm going.
I have no idea.
Right. What did you think about the the Boondocks episode
I do.
where everybody's like, yo, don't let Usher around your girl. He's gonna be wilding. He doesn't care. I think we've seen through this past year that statement has held up very well.
Yeah. I mean, listen, man, he's from Atlanta. And dudes from Atlanta,
And he got married the same day.
no, I saw it on Twitter. They're like, yeah, the halftime show was his bachelor party.
Yeah. He's over there. That's
um,
Alicia Keys. You can't be touching on Alicia Keys like that.
yeah, you lucky Swiss Beats know how to handle himself because Swiss Beats was running around with DMX and the Rough Riders. So can you imagine? But I'm sure Jay-Z made the call like, hey man, it's just bygones bygones be bygones. It's a music business. And stuff happens. Me personally, we're gonna have to have a conversation. I'm gonna have to be at the rehearsal. I gotta know beforehand. You can't just do that without me knowing. Like, I gotta say, oh, switch up. Word. I'm gonna need you to do a song for me after this. If you're gonna be all up on my wife, I'm gonna need you in the studio as soon as this is over.
Yeah. I like after that, Swiss Beats and Usher, I wouldn't be surprised if we see them drop a song. I wouldn't be
Yeah,
surprised.
yeah, come do a verses or something. You can't be all up on my lady and not compensate me. Like, I need you to do something, man. Respect me. At least run it by me first.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, shout out to Swizzy. You know.
Yeah. And another notable thing that happened with the commercials was Kanye had a commercial where he paid $7 million for the ad spot, but then he just recorded on his phone. He's like, yeah, um, I spent a lot of bread on this ad spot, so I'm not really gonna spend anything on the actual production of this ad. He recorded on his phone. He was like, yeah, the album's out. Go to Yeezy.com and buy my new stuff. Peace. Is this
Kanye,
the greatest
but
marketing move ever?
Kanye West, I don't agree with his strategy sometimes, but I can't deny that it works. Rage sells. Outrage marketing sells. I don't think half of his political stances. I don't think he truly believes all of them. I think some of them maybe. But yeah, if I'm gonna tweak out on for public consumption, it's going to generate questions. Questions equals attention. Attention equals currency. Currency makes me rich.
That's true.
Kanye West is uber talented. So people may say he doesn't need to succumb to this, but maybe I want to get lazy and do this. And I just dropped the album. I'm dropping a trilogy, and this is part one. Go get that and run my numbers. Thank you.
Yeah, I think Kanye might be the most free man in the world right now.
Yeah.
He gave up power in every facet for his freedom and the ability to do what he wants.
Yeah. And even with power, he was doing whatever he wanted. But he realized that with that power, you had to call, you had to talk to Big Brother. He was
Mhm.
like, I don't want to talk to Big Brother no more. So hey, take the power here. Y'all got it. I'm gonna just rock out and do my own thing. And he's been doing that.
Yeah. It seems like he did everything he did on purpose.
Oh yeah, oh yeah, absolutely. The knock is he's his greatness shouldn't require that. But hey,
Yeah, that's true. But speaking of great moves, let's talk about this Hall of Fame class. Pass to you.
all right, all right, all right. So the Canton inductees of 2024, we are here. A lot of the names were up for consideration. The finalists were as follows. So you have Eric Allen. I haven't notes here. Where'd they go? I'm gonna just read you the names, but I had notes, so I'll just give you the names. You have Eric Allen, Jared Allen. If I Jared Allen was the edge rusher, Willie Anderson, Jari Evans was the offensive lineman, Dwight Freeney, I guess he was an edge rusher, linebacker, Antonio Gates, legendary tight end, Randy Gradishar,
Mhm.
Rodney Harrison, long time DB for the Patriots. Devin Hester, one of the greatest retirement of all time. Torrey Holt, legendary wide receiver. Andre Johnson, legendary wide receiver. Stephen Michael, Buddy Parker, Julius Peppers, elite pass rusher. Art Powell, Fred Taylor, legendary running back. The Pivot co-host. The Pivot Podcast co-host, Reggie Wayne, long time great Colt wide receiver, Patrick Willis, one of the greatest linebackers of the 2010s, and Dan Woodson, Cowboys legend. I think he was a corner.
Yeah. So these are the finalists. Have they announced who is gonna make it yet?
I believe, yeah, I believe it's going to be Dwight Freeney. What's this guy's name? I can't read. Pardon me. Dwight Freeney, Randy Gradis Horror, Devin Hester, Andre Johnson, Steve McMichael, Julius Peppers, and Patrick Willis. So you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 finalists.
Okay. Who do you think was the biggest snub for the Hall of Fame this year?
Probably Torrey Holt and Antonio Gates.
Mm.
No, wait, only for that Antonio Gates number one, and then Torrey Holt and
How,
Reggie Wayne right there at three for me. But
how
those
long
are the
have they
three
been
finalists.
waiting?
That I need to figure out. I think Antonio. I'm pretty sure Antonio Gates this is his first or second year of eligibility.
Mhm.
I'm almost certain Torrey Holt has been trying to get in for a while, and I don't know why he hasn't been in. I think it's a true disservice because he's one of the greatest wide receivers ever. And what was the third name I said?
I think you said Tory.
Torrey Holt, Torrey Holt, Antonio Gates. What was the third name I said? Reggie Wayne. Reggie Wayne.
Yeah.
Reggie Wayne has a ring. He's had over 1,500 yards multiple times. I think it's like a 6 or 7 time All Pro. If Marv is there and Peyton is there, why not put Reggie? That's it. It's very simple. Obviously, Marv and Peyton got a lot more accomplished, but Reggie was playing with Marv. So imagine if he wasn't playing with Marv. You know what I'm saying? So it's like I think Reggie Wayne should be in the Hall of Fame. As it's true to service that he's not.
Mhm. No, I absolutely hear what you're saying here. I absolutely hear what you're saying. Um, I believe the Hall of Fame induction is on August 3rd this year in Canton. So definitely be interesting to see everybody get their what is it? Everybody gets like a head bust and
Yeah,
a
they get the
golden
bus on
jacket.
the gold jacket.
Yeah, definitely going down in history there for those guys. But all right, let's change the temperature. Let's get into some hot takes. I got a few cooked up for you.
All right,
Um,
what's our first steamer?
Steve Spagnuolo deserves to be a Hall of Fame coach.
Yeah. I beat the 18-0 Patriots. I led, I held one of these great offenses in check. Yeah, yes, and yes. Spags is one of the best defensive coordinators I've ever seen. Terrible head coach, but a great defensive coordinator. So his bread and butter he keeps on buttering his bread.
Mhm.
They call him one of the best big game coaches ever. Big game, I mean playoff Super Bowl, etc. And yeah, that statement holds true. As you can see, they just went back to back. So yeah,
That's true. And on that similar note, this one you put in here, but we'll just go ahead and say it. Kyle Shanahan is not fit to be a head coach. He's an elite coordinator, but lacks the ability to oversee every other phase of the team effectively.
yeah, because managing time, your personnel on defense, understanding what works and what's not working, even knowing what to call sometimes. All of that, I don't think you need to be taking on all those responsibilities because when you do, things don't go right. I think if that Falcons team ran it back another year or two, I think they would have got a ring. But they forgot how to play football for a quarter and some change and coughed up a 25 point lead. I still don't know how you let 31 points get scored on you unanswered. Like that's crazy. So I really don't how how does that happen?
I don't have
31 points?
I don't have an answer for that one, but I'll tell you what, I did definitely bet on Tom Brady. I was like, bro, you can't bet against Tom Brady in the Super Bowl. If I don't see a Manning across from this man in the Super Bowl, or if yeah, a Manning,
Or
if it's not a Eli Manning, Peyton Manning, if I don't see them across from Tom Brady, I'm taking Tom. If your last name isn't Manning, I'm taking Tom Brady. Simple.
yeah,
And it's been proven right,
most times the hit rate is pretty high.
you
I
know.
would agree.
And yeah, same for Kyle Shanahan. If I see Kyle Shanahan in the Super Bowl, I'm picking the other team.
Absolutely. Immediately. Immediately. Oh, also, did you hear about the Kirk Cousins curse?
Nah, talk to me.
So they say that no team has lost to Kirk Cousins and won the Super Bowl in the same year. I had to go back and look at like all the different ones, but they've been keeping track of this for long enough for it to be a curse.
Hmm.
And the Vikings beat the 49ers on Monday Night Football. And sure enough, they lost in the Super Bowl. So
So you got to be Kirk Cousins if you want to win it all.
maybe
He's like the Super Bowl Grim Reaper.
at this point, man. I, again, I might, next time I might pull that list of like occurrences, but I know it happened this year.
I got one more steamer for you. This year will be the largest QB draft since 2018.
Yeah, I think there's gonna be like 4 or 5 first round QBs, and then all the other day two, day three guys. Yeah, we're gonna get maybe 7, 8, 9 QBs drafted this year.
Mm-hmm.
Because I feel like folks they're gonna look for the next Brock Purdy, so they're gonna do some dart throws in the 6th and 7th round, and
Mm-hmm.
yeah, we're gonna have a good amount of QBs taken.
Now, there may be a more pure number taken of 20 in 2018. How many were taken in 2018?
Oh dang! I just had it pulled up. Oh, not 39. That's linebackers. 13.
Right. But I think there'll be more successful QBs coming out of this draft than there were in 2018.
Okay.
All right.
Off rip. Off rip, we got 4. I think are going to be at least 6-year starters. I have 4 quarterbacks in this in this upcoming draft class that will be starting somewhere
Hmm.
for at least 6 years.
Who are the four
Uh,
you got?
you got Bo, JJ, Drake May, Caleb. How many did I say? I said
Yeah,
four?
yeah, you just said four. Yeah.
Six. Jaden Daniels and Michael Penix. I think they will all be starting somewhere for 4 to 6 years each.
The only names I would take off that list are Bo Nix. I don't know, for some reason, just not a believer. I'm gonna have to see something.
Yeah. Again, I don't think he's gonna, like Stetson Bennett minus the legal issues. I think Bo Nix might be on that path ish. It's like, long time backup. If I start here and there, I'm gonna be okay. I think
Mhm.
he's gonna start early, not look too great, and then kind of fade into the darkness, but come back at every once and again.
Hmm.
Groundhog Day type thing.
Okay. And then for 2018, how many of these QBs were busts?
Um, that's a tough question because
In
we
your
have
opinion?
we have QBs that didn't hit, but I don't know if they're necessarily bust. So I'm looking at the class right now. Um, let me see. So you have one, two, three, four. So you have Baker Mayfield. I can't call you a draft bust. Sam Darnold, you might be a draft bust.
Yeah.
Josh Allen, yeah, I mean, it's obvious. Josh Rosen, absolutely, you're a draft bust. Lamar is Lamar. She's on MVP. Mason Rudolph, you're a third rounder. So, I mean, you did third round things. Colorado, uh, you did fourth round things. Mike White, you did fifth round things.
What did Mike White do?
I mean, he was drafted by the Cowboys. Had a cup of coffee with the Jets, started a few games, won a few games, showed promise, but you're a first round quarterback. And I think they took Zach Wilson 2 or 3 years later. So you were never gonna be the long term guy there. I think he's now a Dolphin. He threw a touchdown pass in that blowout against Denver, so capable, competent backup. Could take. I might have a hot take on my hands.
Talk.
I think I think if Tua regresses, Mike White might be a long-term QB in Miami. If
Mm.
Tua takes a step back next year and Mike White gets more PT, he might just hold on to that job a little bit longer than people think if he shows promise.
Hmm. I think you're onto something. I think you're onto something because Tua hasn't been looking too good. I think Tua has the skill and the ability. I just don't know what it is. Maybe it might be injury, maybe, or he might
Yeah,
have a limiting mindset or something, but I think he's definitely more than capable.
I think, like this next training camp, if Mike White shows some promise, we'll see what next preseason. I'm gonna revisit this, but I'm gonna keep an eye out on Mike White next year because I think he might be something somewhere.
Hmm.
Other QBs are Luke Falk. Um, don't know much about you. Tanner Lee, don't know much about you. Danny Etling, don't know much about you. Alex McGaw, I can't really say too much. And Logan Woodside, pick 249. I think he started a few games. He's currently a Falcon. Nothing too significant he's done, but I mean, he's a recognizable name.
Did you know about this like whole supplemental draft thing that in 2018 they had a supplemental draft and the
Yeah,
Giants and the Redskins both took corners.
yeah. Sam Beal, Don Alexander. Yeah, it's essentially just when you forfeit a pick, or if you didn't enter the draft the traditional way, um, it's really just like a year for like the USFL, CFL. So just all these non-traditional college to NFL, you have the supplemental draft. And some popular picks include the likes of Brian Bosworth. Chris Carter, uh, Josh Gordon,
Really?
yeah, and Terrell Pryor, and a
Hmm.
few others. Usually, these gentlemen tend to have some type of disciplinary issue that affects their standard draft eligibility,
Hmm.
and this is like their second chance. A la Josh Gordon, Terrell Pryor, etc. But
Hmm.
that's not always the case. Sometimes it's like, life just happens and it's like, yeah, I can't enter the draft the regular way.
That's fair. So what do you think constitutes a draft bust?
Um, it depends on where you were taking. If you're taking top 10, top eight, I'll go top eight. If you're taking top eight, I expect you to be the best at your given position within 2 to 3 years.
Hmm.
And if you're not the best, you're in the conversation. And if you're not, you're a bust.
That's fair.
Um, Also, as a rookie, this isn't a mandate, but if you don't flash as a rookie, I'm gonna be concerned. A la Quentin Johnston.
Because what Quentin Johnson, he was immediate
He's the
all pro.
first rounder at TCU last year. Last year. Quentin Johnston, um,
I
who's
was thinking
another?
about Quentin Nelson. I was thinking about Quentin Nelson. No,
Oh no. Far from no. We opposite. I mean, we can't. So he's no. And I don't like Notre Dame. I don't like Notre Dame talent, but nah, Quentin Nelson spoken for. But Quentin Johnston, I'm trying to think of some others. Trying to think of some others. Kenny Pickett might be there. He might be there. Um, thinking, I'm thinking, I'm thinking, I'm thinking. Sam Darnold is like, yeah, if I spend, because yeah, first round picks cost a lot of money. So imagine I spent $8,000 on a iPhone 2.
yeah, that doesn't make sense.
Yeah. And then we all had the same, well, first round picks. So we're all were given $8,000. I have an iPhone 2. The homie right next to me got like uh down payment on the house. And the other person next to me got, I don't know. He just bought stock in Coca-Cola and I have an iPhone 2. So we all had $8,000. And I bought an iPhone 2, and the two people on my left and my right did monumental things with their money. Like what did Josh Rosen say? There were seven mistakes made or something like that. Just 7 mistakes made before me. Josh Rosen is not on the team right now.
Yeah,
He was a top 10 pick in his draft class. That's a draft class.
yeah.
So yeah.
Kill, is Josh Rosen just retired?
No, he's just unsigned. He's unemployed. He's unemployed.
Oh, he went to St. John Bosco.
So yeah.
He went to St. John Bosco in
Yeah.
Cali.
Oh, went to UCLA, showed some promise, got taken by the Cardinals. And they
He's been on 7 teams.
yeah, a lot of practice squads.
He's never stayed on a team for more than a season.
That's a draft bust. Think about that. I'm my first round pick and I played for more teams than my jersey number in
That's
college. In college. My jersey number in college. That's a problem.
that is insane. Huh. But change the temperature for us. Take it to some cold facts.
All right. So according to my research, So 2020 and 2024 might be twins. Let me tell you why. You had the Chiefs Niners Super Bowl in 2020. You had that this year. Had Lamar winning an MVP. You had that this year. The Ravens take the North. That happened again. The Texans win their division with 10 wins. That happened again. The Chiefs take their division. The Chiefs take their division, and the Chargers finish last. Both of those things happen. Washington last in their division, 13 losses. That happened again. The Panthers last in their division once again. Niners take their division. The Cardinals are last. The Chiefs are the home team in the Super Bowl, quote unquote. San Fran is the number one seed. Billie Eilish won Song of the Year. The Chiefs were plus 600 odds to win the Super Bowl. The 49ers beat the Packers in the playoffs. The Boston Bruins and the Toronto Maple Leafs are top five in the East. Yeah, I know hockey. Uh,
Okay.
the Colorado Avalanche for the second team in the West. The Celtics and the Bucks were both top three seeds in the East. The Denver Nuggets were the third seed in the West. The number one seed wins the college football playoff. The two undefeated teams play in the college football playoff. The loser of the college football playoff lost by three scores. Joel Embiid has surgery on his left hand in 2020. This year is his left knee. Um, the Panthers fire Ron Rivera. The Commanders fire Ron Rivera. And in both 2020 and 2024, the winner of the Citrus Bowl scored 35 points.
So I hope the similarities stop there between 2020 and 2024.
I'm buying Pfizer stock. That's all I'm gonna say.
Please, not another pandemic. Knock on wood.
Yeah, I rebuke it. But I'm gonna buy some Pfizer because hey, whatever gotta happen.
Yeah, it seems like everything is lining up exactly the same way. So, hey, Dan called it first. Hey, not financial advice. Do your own research, but hey, Pfizer stock.
Just look at it. Just look at the just keep an eye out.
That is definitely cold. But what else you got?
Also, Mahomes is now 3-1 in the Super Bowl when trailing by double digits. I'll say it again. When he's trailing by more than 10 in the Super Bowl, he's 3-1. So he's come back 3 times and won 3 Super Bowls. Every other quarterback who's been in that predicament all the time, 4 wins, 48 losses.
Mahomes is Thanos.
Yeah.
Is Thanos Mahomes. Thanos Mahomes. He's inevitable. You know, yeah, you take off the deep voice, you throw on the Kermit Frog type voice, but you know, the little run with his head tilted to the side, you know. But that guy's the scariest man in the NFL right now.
That part. The Grim Reaper, they call
Mm, the Kermit
him.
Reaper.
And lastly, the 49ers have won the Super Bowl in 29 years. And they've been to like 3 or 4. So
That is unfortunate. So is it worse to not win a Super Bowl in 29 years, or is it worse not to even make it there in 29 years? It's the same result at the end of the day.
yeah, it's like, all right, did I fall at the top of the steps or did I fall on my way to the top of the steps?
Yeah.
Which one hurts more?
Hmm.
Falling from the top of the steps. So I would say, I mean, yeah, I feel like they kind of avoid the critique that Dallas gets because they've been there and they've been there recently, but
Mhm.
they can't win. So it's like, it's just as bad.
Yeah.
Those went to 4 Super Bowls in a row, lost all 4 of them and haven't been back since.
Yeah, that's disgusting. That's nasty.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's very sad. Hmm. Oh boy.
Or
Huh. I mean, all in all, I don't think the 49ers are a bad team, but you had the same head coach in two of those Super Bowl losses. So I think it's time to reevaluate things.
you also had
Something that has to change.
salute to Brock Purdy, but you also had quarterback play that was not elite in both.
Abysmal, to be specific.
I would say maybe. Well, no, because Purdy might be the guy, but maybe down the line, just temper your expectations. It's hard because he got there, you know. So the
Yeah.
expectation is you'll get there again, but I don't know. I really don't know.
And I think another thing that was interesting was this season, Brock Purdy was told, if we can get Tom Brady, you have to move aside. I think they were trying to cook here because if they had Tom Brady, they would have won that Super Bowl.
Man, if they hit, so Tom Brady wants a piece of the Raiders, and he wants to play football for a whole nother franchise. What type of huh?
Oh,
I mean, I guess you sell your stake and then buy it back. Aren't you
when
rather go cover games in the future? Like, man, get a hobby.
Tom Brady's the greatest NFL player of all time, so
Yeah, get a hobby.
his hobby is football.
You got a 10-year deal with Fox. You want to play football again? Why do you want to get hit?
The way he's about to be talking on that, I can't wait to hear what he has to say. He's about to have all the other analysts confused because we're about to see what somebody who truly knows what he's talking about sounds like.
Yeah,
He's gonna be like Tony Romo on steroids.
yeah. You know what? Thank you for bringing that up. I remember Tony Romo was talking through the entirety of that game-winning touchdown. If I was Jim Nance, I would have smacked that man. You know,
I feel like
like what? Like I'm trying to cover the man was just yapping, yo. Like be quiet, please. But excitement and all that. But hey, man, don't step on what that guy over here. And he did just that. I thought that was annoying, and I'm sure him and Jim Nance had a conversation off air.
he was definitely stepping on the work there.
That part.
Yeah, let people have their moment.
Mhm.
All right, talk to me about what's going on in the NBA.
Man, oh man, All-Star weekend is upon us. It is right around the corner. And leading up to All-Star weekend, you have a few things. My computer just turned off, so let me pull my nose back up. But the Bucks are still the Bucks. We talked about the Bucks being the Bucks. I just hope y'all know they're gonna be the first one to exit. I said it before, I'll say it again. Um trade deadline came and went, few moves. Pat Bev is already making an impact, taking the clipboard and drawing up plays for himself. Not for himself, but like coordinating the offense. Uh and his first day there.
Patrick Beverly, player coach.
Maybe at this point. Um the future is bright for Wemby. He just had a triple double with blocks.
Whoa,
Like the future is bright. Future is bright.
they
Um
they said he had on a vulture fit, like ode.
Spider-Man.
They said he had on a vulture fit ode to Kanye's album. He was wearing all black.
Oh, that's a Spider-Man. I'm
Oh,
gonna listen.
oh, no, vulture.
I'm
He had,
gonna yeah. Vulture's a villain in Spider-Man. I wasn't thinking.
oh,
I got. I'm gonna listen to the album. I'm gonna listen to the album.
listen to the
Um,
album, yo.
I'm gonna listen to the album.
Let us know what you guys think about the album in the comments.
That part. That part. Shaq's jersey was retired by the Orlando Magic.
Okay,
At 32 is now in the rafters.
is that
Um,
deserved?
Absolutely. He took him to the finals. I mean, he lost, but he took him there.
So, is this jersey also retired by the Lakers?
It is. And I think it's also retired by the Heat. I think.
Okay, that's fair. So, for LeBron, I expect the
Oh,
Cavs,
yeah.
Lakers, and Heat to all retire his jersey.
That
That's my
Lakers one,
expectation.
that Lakers one is going to be questionable. The Lakers really like to. I feel like they will, but if they don't, I'm going to be surprised. But yeah, the Heat and the Cavs, even the Heat one, because him and Pat Riley got beef still, so maybe not. But
You have to. give credit where credit is due. LeBron is the healthiest 40-year-old man I've ever seen play in the NBA in my life.
Very, very, very solid take right there.
And he doesn't seem to be slowing down at all.
Hey man, he said it before, he don't get tired. So
His genome needs to be studied because there has to be some type of mutation there. We've never seen a player, not even Jordan, play this consistently this long in the NBA. The only other comparable person would be Tom Brady to the NFL, but everybody knows QBs don't take the same amount of bump as an NBA player. Hold on. Bump as in physical usage and strain. You
let
have
me know
you have,
what
you
y'all think
have
about my
thoughts.
take right there.
You said what?
I mean, obviously, you play. It's as a football player, you play one side of the field,
Mm-hmm.
versus as a basketball player, you play both. Well, at least the expectation is that you do. I know some of
Mm-hmm.
y'all don't play. Some of y'all don't play a wicked defense, but um, you are crashing down time in, time out. But I think when another grown man is physically expected to impose his will on you at full contact, it's hard for me to put that over basketball. When I'm literally getting tackled as a profession, my profession is to get hit. It's hard for me to put that over basketball, but I will. So I'm biased. Yes, I think the physical strain of being a professional basketball player is very much overlooked. But yeah, shout out to Braun, man. Nothing like it. Don't think we'll see anything like it anytime soon. So gotta cherish it while it's here.
So
Um,
wait. Which side are you on? An NFL QB or NBA player?
NBA player because you have six people protecting you at any moment if you're a QB.
Mm-hmm.
You have an offensive line, and then if you have a running back back there, also you got the refs because the refs are not going. The rest, the rest, the sport has transitioned to a level of you protect the QB at any cost. Whereas in the NBA, you know how many no calls there are?
Yeah.
Like, come on, yo.
I,
So
was it a no call when LeBron literally got poked in the eye and was bleeding?
got poked in the eye, got clotheslined. Like, yo, it's like full on, which brings us to a point. Paul George is like whether the NBA was like turned into like WWE. So it's like y'all were like cutting promos and like doing like not scripted, but like cinematics as far as like, oh, this guy says he's injured, but he's still, so it's like, yeah, naturally when you hit tackle is brute barbarian, what's the word? Archaic activity, but yeah, there's a lot of striking in basketball. A lot.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah.
You know, and that's
Mhm.
another thing. Let us know what y'all think. And honestly, this probably get clipped up and go up in a poll or something like that. But what's harder what's more physically demanding, being an NFL QB or being an NBA player in this day and age now?
Yes.
Yeah. But tell me what else is going on in the NBA?
My Wizards are still very bad. Pray for my Wizards as we rebuild. But for the compy teams, the Knicks, like I said, they killed that trade deadline. Jalen Brunson, like I said, if you saw Jalen Brunson at Nova, you shouldn't be surprised. Cleveland, they're 14-1 over the last 15 games. They're 14-1. D Mitch has been really putting in work. So no surprise there as well. The Timberwolves might be a sleeper team in the West. Uh, they're 35-16 now, and they are fighting for that one team. Man, I feel like this might be the year that they really put it together. I was, of course, they signed Nas Reed to that mega deal. Got Anthony Edwards, you got Carl Anthony Towns. That team was put together pretty in a very interesting way, and it's looking very promising. They lead the league in defensive rating at 108.2.
Mm.
Even though their offense is 19th, you still got Anthony Edwards and you got the self-proclaimed best big man shooter ever in Carl Anthony Towns. So I mean, you're in a good spot regardless. And you also got Rudy. I forgot about Rudy Gobert. Um, the Bucks. We covered the new coaching change.
Mhm.
I just want to see what y'all do in the playoffs. I don't really care about y'all already started 1-4 in this first road trip. I don't care about your regular season because y'all coach is y'all coach. So I'll see what happens in the playoffs.
I think that's a fair assessment. Um, what's this Vince Staples NBA thing? What is that?
Oh yeah, so Vince Staples was on Podcast P. That's Paul George's podcast,
Mhm.
and he was it's like if I was Adam Silver for a day, he was like I'm gonna turn into a wrestler. I'm like cut this joint like WWE. I'm gonna cut promos. I'm like yeah, LeBron's not gonna play today. He has like a bad ankle. You see LeBron limping from the tunnel coming. Oh, LeBron James out of nowhere. So making it very like cinematic and like entertaining. So make it the NBE, National Basketball Entertainment, and just boost up the numbers that way. I
Honestly,
think, yeah.
there might be a bag there if somebody actually makes that for older players.
Hmm.
Mm.
Hmm.
All ideas by the Fever Pitch podcast are reserved. All rights reserved.
That part. You opened the door there. I didn't think about that one.
Hey.
I'm gonna talk to you off mic. But yeah, put All-Star game is right around the corner. I'm looking forward to it. Surprisingly, like I said, that Sabrina Ionescu versus Steph Curry. I feel like I'm going to pay most attention to that. Could care less about the dunk contest. Y'all ruined it. Don't care anymore. And then the All-Star game in itself, we're going back to East versus West. And I always side with the West. So
Yeah, I've noticed that, and I think they call it the LeBron effect. Whatever conference LeBron is in, typically tends to be the stronger conference.
essentially, yeah.
Yeah, because you've seen all the
Yeah.
talent. The talent goes where LeBron goes. You've seen everybody come to the West since LeBron has come there. I mean, even when they tried to get away from him, they came back to him.
Yeah.
Look at KD. He tried to go to the East. Nope, it didn't work. You back in the West. But I think that
You want
does
the
leave
new
room for the East to have a lot of young, upcoming talent to make their own mark on the game and to build up their names. So,
Yeah, it's really it's all these J's. You got Jalen Brunson, Jason Tatum, Jalen Brown. Now obviously you got Giannis and Dame. So yeah, the East is loaded as well. So I'm looking forward to it. And then obviously, um, I'm not sure if Tyrese Halliburton has been cleared yet, but if he is, the future is bright. He's looking very, very good, and he's having a great season. So I'm looking forward to seeing what the future holds for the foreseeable future in the East and the West.
true. And then before we close out, African Cup of Nations. Uh Ivory Coast won 2-1. Um, I know a lot of Nigerians were upset. Um, I'm assuming you were one of that Nigerians. What happened?
You know, sometimes the Super Eagles don't want to be too super, and today was one of those days. I think the spirit of Drogba kind of
Oh,
permeates through the Ivory Coast, and
type AFCON in on Google. Look and hit search. Look what this is a new animation I've never seen. They just did fireworks with Ivory Coast flag.
they did the same thing with they kind of did that with the Super Bowl as well. When I typed that in, it didn't trigger for me, but I believe you for sure.
Super Bowl.
Um,
Let me try that. Super Bowl.
yeah. But as Brian tests out the key, now it's doing it
Oh
now.
yeah, it's doing the same thing for the Super Bowl too. Huh.
Yeah. That's fly though. I like that. Yeah, we took the lead. 38-minute mark. William Truth Ekong had the goal there, but in the second half, I think them halftime adjustments caught up to us. Two quick goals, not quick, but two subsequent goals in the 62nd and the 81st minute. And once you can see the goal in the 80th minute, it's usually good night, Irene,
Hmm.
and that it was. So things happen. I think we'll be back very, very soon, and hopefully we can bounce back from this.
Absolutely. Um, you guys did play well, but it was the second half that really got you guys.
Yeah.
Um, and shout out Ivory Coast for winning the African Cup of Nations, especially at home.
Yep.
Um,
The
that's
third title.
that must have been crazy for the country because you're at home, so everybody can come. You know, as many people as possible. So beautiful, beautiful fairy tale Cinderella ending for them. And all in all, I know I think the World Cup qualifiers start to pick up again later this year. I think in
I'm
like
pretty sure.
March or April. So yeah, be on the lookout for that. Hopefully everybody's team qualifies. Um, yeah. But I think we hit on everything. You know,
Surely for surely.
absolutely. All right, guys. Thank you guys for listening to the Fever Pitch podcast. If you guys aren't already, please subscribe to us on YouTube. Follow us on Apple Podcasts or Spotify Podcasts, wherever you listen to podcasts. Follow us on Instagram on the Fever Pitch Pod. We're gonna be picking up and doing some stuff on Twitter as well too. So check us out on Twitter at Fever Pitch Pod. And if you ever want to be a guest on the podcast or talk sports with us, reach out to us, DM us, reach out to us via email. It's in the footer notes. We'd love to have as many people on as possible. In the future, we're trying to do some things such as trivia with cash prizes. So, hey, if you want to be a winner of the Fever Pitch Pod trivia, um, yeah, come get at us.
And for those who have, I got y'all. Trust me. I'm gonna tap in. We'll get you right.
Yeah, you know, and eventually one day, this the Fever Pitch Pod trivia will, be something very big. Well, was this a soft launch or should I cut that part?
No, no, be on the lookout. We
Yeah,
we got we got something we got something in store. We got something in store. Be on the
yeah.
lookout.
But yeah, right now we're uploading twice a week, Wednesdays and Fridays for you guys to get some more consistency out of us, and we're looking to expand to have a third slot this week for interviews and trivia and game shows. So that's what we're working on right now. But give us some time. Let us cook. Because yeah, that's what we want to do. But as always, this has been the Fever Pitch Podcast, hot takes and cold facts, and we'll catch you guys next time. Peace.
Take care. God bless.